Okay, so suppose we'd like to add itong ating tatlong vectors dito. We have vector A having a magnitude of 5 newtons. So our resultant R can be expressed as vector A, plus vector B, plus vector C. Okay, so how do we go about solving for vector R? Now, first method that we will use is a graphical method. Gagamit tayo ng drawings in order to solve for vector R. And this first method is what we call head-to-tail method. So we need two materials in order to add these three vectors using our head-to-tail method. So one, we will need a ruler. And number two, we will need a protractor para sa ating mga angles. Okay? So how do we add vectors using this method? Okay, let's draw an axis first. Okay, so this is our axis. Okay. So the first step in using head-to-tail method in adding these vectors is we will draw one by one yung ating vectors. Vectors A, B, and C. So let's start by drawing our vector A. As we can see, ito yung ating vector A, has a magnitude of 5 newtons and has a direction of 55 degrees north of east. Now, saan kaya nakaturo itong ating vector A na ito? Ano kaya yung direction niya? So, if we use this using these four directions, we have north, east, south, and west. So, 55 degrees north of east means, galing sa east, we will go towards north. So, papunta tayong north by 55 degrees. Okay? So, from east, punta tayo na by 55 degree. Ganito yung itsura ng ating vector A. Okay, so using our protractor, let's try to produce itong 55 degrees na ito. Okay, make sure na itong gitna na ito andun sa ating starting point. Okay, so 55 degrees is somewhere around here. Okay, so mark lang natin yung 55 degrees. Okay? This time, using our ruler, we will now try to draw our vector. Now, if you look at our vectors, ang unit natin is in newtons. Okay? And this ruler is in units of centimeters. Now, in order to express yung ating magnitude in terms of centimeters, we need to assign a scale factor. Okay? So, for this particular example, ang ating scale will be 1 centimeter sa ating drawing will represent 1 newton. Okay? So, ito yung gagamitin natin na scale as we draw the vectors. Okay? So, since ang ating vector A is 5 newtons, so in our drawing, it will look like an arrow having a length of 5 centimeters. Okay, so this is how our vector looks like. Lagyan natin ng arrowhead. So, this is now vector A. Okay, so yun yung first step natin sa head-to-tail method. Next, we are going to draw vector B. But since this is called head-to-tail method, instead of starting dito sa ating origin, i-draw natin ang vector B galing sa head, itong point na ito, galing sa head ng vector A. Okay, so let's try to sketch ano kayang itsura nitong vector B. Vector B is in the direction 23 degrees west of south. So what does that mean? From south, we will go towards west, papunta tayong west by 23 degrees. Okay, so from south, punta tayong west, and this angle should be 23 degrees. So parang ganyan yung itsura ng ating vector B. Okay, so let's draw it in our diagram. So using our protractor, let us mark itong angle na ito, 23 degrees. So we will start. Okay, and let's try measuring 23 degrees. So, markahan lang natin yung 23 degrees. This is 20. 1, 2, 3. So, around here. Okay. That is 23 degrees. Now, using our ruler, let's draw an arrow papunta dun sa direction na yan because that is 23 degrees west of south. This time, The value is 3 newtons. So from our scale, we will draw it with a length of 3 centimeters. Okay, so let's draw that line. Okay, so let's put an arrowhead. This is now our vector B. Okay, so yan yung itsura ng vector B. Okay, so this is now A and B. And finally, let us draw vector C starting naman dito sa head ni B, kung saan nag-end yung ating vector B. So we'll start at this point and we will draw our vector C. Now, how does vector C look like? So, ang direction niya is northwest. So that is in between north and west. And since in between north of west yan, so both of this angle are 45 degrees. Okay, so we can choose this angle here or this angle below. Both of them are 45 degrees. So using our protractor, let's try drawing a 45-degree angle. So start tayo dun sa head ng ating vector B. Okay, mark lang natin yung 45 degrees. This is 45 degrees. Okay, so that is our direction. So now, using our ruler, let's draw our vector. So starting dito sa head niya, towards dun sa point na sinulat natin. Okay, now the magnitude is 4 newtons. Using our scale, that will translate as 4 centimeters. So this is now, let's put arrowheads. This is now vector C. So ano nagawa na natin to? So first, we've drawn A. And then from the head of A, we have drawn B. And from the head of B, we have drawn C. So now, the resultant vector is actually the vector from our starting point, which is dito, sa origin ng ating axis, papunta dun sa end point ng ating head-to-tail method, which is the head of C. So that is our resultant, R. So let's draw that. So this arrow here is our resultant vector. Okay? So yan yung itsura nung sum ng A, B, and C. Now, we want to write vector R in this form na meron tayong magnitude, meron tayong direction. So how do we do that? So vector R, let's write it here, is equal to, now first we need yung magnitude ng ating vector R. Now, to do that, we will use our ruler and measure yung length ng arrow representing our resultant. So, reading, gaano kahaba yun? That is around 4.3. Parang halfway day. 4.35. Parang ganon. 4.35 centimeters. Now, since Newton dapat ang ating magnitude, using our scale, so 4.35 centimeters is equal to 4.35 newtons. Okay, so that is the magnitude of our vector R. Now, for the direction, we need to measure an angle. So, we have two choices here. Pwedeng itong angle na ito or pwedeng itong angle na ito. So, for this case, let's measure this angle using our protractor. So, from our protractor, the angle is around 75 degrees. That is 75 degrees. Now, using our four directions, north, east, west, south, nagsimula tayo sa west. Papunta tayong north, so that is north of west. Okay, so we have 75 degrees north of west. So the direction of our resultant vector R is 75 degrees north of west. Nasa north ng west. So this is our resultant vector using our head-to-tail method. Okay? So, quick review. First, we'll draw vector A. And then sa head ng vector A, we will draw vector B. And then sa head ng vector B, we will draw vector C. And then our resultant is the vector or the arrow starting from our starting point papunta doon sa end point. That is our resultant. So that's how we use head-to-tail method.